All right. Take it away,
All right.
Jerry.
Well, very excited to share what I've learned about PDF remediation. And today we're going to be remediating a PDF file to ensure WCAG 2.2 level AA accessibility compliance. Along the way, I'll be sharing a couple tools you can use to verify accessibility and a Word template you can use to ensure structure before you convert to a PDF, as well as a checklist so you can keep organized while you're remediating. At the end, I hope you'll be more confident that you're actually hitting the WCAG targets used to ensure digital accessibility for all the content that you share with colleagues, your extended audiences, stakeholders, partners. Like Sarah said, I'm Joe Roberts with Connors Communications. I edit and design many of our extension publications in addition to social media and news writing for Connors and our magazines. I'm looking forward to taking with you today as we remediate this publication from start to finish. Then we'll check it for accessibility compliance. What's helpful for me to stay organized, and I'm going to share it with you now in the chat, is a PDF remediation checklist and helpful notes that I've developed. And feel free to use this, save to your desktop if you want, if you're remediating a lot of PDFs. Once I go to share my screen, I'll have it open so you can see what it looks like. So even if you don't open it now, you'll be able to see as we work with it together to remediate a publication. And what I find to be extremely helpful, and excuse me as I juggle a billion screens right now, but I will go ahead and start sharing my screen here pretty soon so that we can all be on the same page. Let me see, we want to do screen two and share. Okay, and then I'm going to open up this checklist that I just sent everyone.
Hey, Joe, can you
Yes,
hold on 1 second? I just got notified that I provided the wrong link and there's 17 people on the other call. I'm going to give them the Zoom link and then they're going to join. So can we just pause 1 moment? Sorry about that.
absolutely. Get some Jeopardy music in the background while we wait. 17 people is actually quite a few. So I might, if it's okay with everyone, I might just go ahead and start the presentation from the beginning again so
That
that
makes
everyone can
sense.
be on the same page.
No, that sounds good.
Okay,
I,
thanks, Beth. Yeah, I appreciate that. Sorry about that.
I was kind of dismayed that there were so few people attending this. Like, we need
Oh,
this
right.
information. So I'm glad there's 17 more coming.
I think the last one had nearly 40, so I was a little surprised myself. So it'll be good to get more people into the presentation and more questions and get a little bit more in depth here. So, Beth, how's PDF remediation been going since the last presentation?
I cannot say that I have actually remediated PDFs. I don't remember when our last presentation was, but I've converted things to web pages for the most part. Um, I just found a whole page of stuff that I didn't create that's PDFs, Word docs, that it would be great if it were converted, and some of it I could convert, but some of it's trickier, like score sheets. I I don't know if I will ever actually remediate a score sheet or if I will just make a web page that says here is all the stuff that's included in the score sheet, which you can find in an inaccessible version attached right here.
Right, yeah, sometimes rephrasing I've found is sometimes the best option too. Oh, there's Erica. That's great. Okay. I think
Yeah,
it
we'll
works,
give it
Sarah.
just 1 more minute. I just got off the phone with Sarah and gave them the new Zoom link, and we'll just get started here in a couple minutes. Apologies to those of you who are just now joining. That was my fault. I sent out the wrong link. I think that's the second time I've done that. So we'll go ahead and start from the beginning, and we are recording this training today. So we will provide the link to the recording after we make it accessible on our webinar page. So
Hey Sarah, this is
yeah.
Linda. I have a question. So is this different than the storage Zoom that was supposed to happen at the same time, or is this the storage Zoom?
Storage.
Honor storage. open it. I mean, I had one already on my thing
Oh
for
yeah, no,
storage.
that's different. Connor's storage, I don't know what that is. This
It's
is our
data.
monthly webinar that we do on digital accessibility. We do it the third Tuesday of every month,
Okay.
and we rotate topics. So this is a
Okay.
recurring meeting once a
Okay.
month.
This is the one I wanted. So I just
Oh,
wanted to
good.
make sure.
Yay.
Yeah, I
Okay,
wanted
well, it looks like
PDFs. So
Yep, looks like we are up to 30 participants. We'll go ahead and get started again. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Apologies for sending out the wrong link to this. We are going to start from the beginning, and luckily, we're not getting too late of a start. I am going to turn it over to Joe Roberts, who is going to provide the presentation.
Yeah, okay. Glad you could all join us. I'm glad we're all in the right spot. I'm very excited to share what I've learned about PDF remediation today, and we're going to actually ensure WCAG 2.2 level AA accessibility by remediating a publication in real time. And at the end, hopefully you'll be more confident that you're hitting the WCAG targets to ensure digital accessibility compliance for all the content that you share with colleagues or stakeholders or partners, whoever it may be. Like Sarah said, I'm Joe Roberts with Connors Communications, and I edit and design many of our extension publications in addition to social media and news writing. And I'm looking forward to taking you with me today as we remediate a publication start to finish and then check it for accessibility compliance. If you open up the chat, if you haven't already, I have dropped a PDF remediation checklist that I've developed that will hopefully help you keep organized as we walk through these steps. And if everyone can see my screen right now, I have the PDF remediation checklist open in front of me. Oh yeah, I can drop that again, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Oh, it wants me to close the file before it'll let me drop it again. So thank you for telling me that. So, okay, it should be there now. Can everyone see that? And I'll go ahead and open that checklist. And now I'll go ahead and open the manuscript that we will be remediating today. This is a publication from an extension author who gave me permission to use this. And it's called Managing Smooth Scouring Russian Field Horsetail. And this is the Word file that we're using. Let me open up that checklist again. And the beginning light gray categories are the Microsoft Word things that you can remediate before you convert to PDF. This is a helpful place to start, I think. And what we can do is manuscript title and author info and tags. There's a fancier term for this, and that's called it's called the metadata. And if we go to this publication and select file and then select info right there, if we go over onto the right hand side under title, you'll see that the title is there and the author information is there too. So we've ensured that the metadata is included in this manuscript, so we can actually check that box off. Next, photos, alt text, complex images, tables. These are just helpful things to keep you on track before you convert to PDF. It's a huge time saver. If you're not already familiar, there is a way to, check for accessibility within Microsoft Word. Now, it's not really an in-depth accessibility check. It's just looking for just kind of surface level things like alt text for images. And if you select info and then check for issues, check accessibility, it's going to tell me that I'm perfect, which is, we're going to find not the right case, or this would be a short presentation. But it says looks good, no issues found. So we can go back to our checklist and we'll go ahead and, if there's extra paragraph marks, we'll have to deal with these when we're remediating the PDF. But you can minimize that extra work by doing it now within the Word file. We've run Microsoft Word's accessibility checker, so we can check that off. Now we get into sort of the meat and potatoes. We're going to convert this Microsoft Word file to a PDF so we can begin remediating. So we'll save a copy. We'll browse. I'll make sure I put it in the correct location so it doesn't go to my OneDrive. And I'll scroll down. And if you go down to Save as Type, we'll select PDF. Now if you select Options, you want to make sure that some of these are checked, and included amongst those are create bookmarks using headings, document properties, and document structure tags for accessibility. Make sure those are checked before you convert to a PDF. Next, we can also check and ensure that the metadata is present. So here there's a title in this field. I've added some tags. That's just for personal organization when you want to find a file again quickly in the future. And the author information is present. So that's the metadata. So it looks like we're good to go. So we'll save as a PDF and let it load for a second. Okay, we can just make sure everything transferred over correctly. No missing fields. Looks good. I think we're ready to start remediating this PDF. So if we jump back into our checklist, we've saved it as a PDF. Next, you're going to need the tools to start the remediation. And so I'd like you to update your PDF interface to include the accessibility tools. So if I open up the PDF, I'm going to show you how to do that so that your side panel here looks like mine. To do that, we can select Menu and then scroll down to View and then Show Hide Side Panels. Now these are important. You need accessibility tags selected, bookmarks, content, and reading order. Those are probably the most important, and certainly the most important for today's presentation. So make sure that those are all checked and visible and usable on the right-hand side. Let's go back to our checklist. We've updated our interface so that it looks like mine. If you didn't include the metadata, that's going to be an automatic fail in the WCAG criteria. So we can just triple check and make sure that that metadata transferred over when we save from Microsoft Word. If you go to Menu and then select Document Properties, and sure enough, title and author are both present there. If we select OK, we can go back to our checklist and check off Fix Metadata. And this next one's pretty easy too. It's add bookmarks for relevant headers. If you used a Microsoft Word file like the one we're looking at right now, and up here you'll see this Styles drop-down. And there's a list of different styles when you're using Microsoft Word. If you use these styles, then all of your headers and paragraph tags and content are going to convert correctly over to the PDF. If you'd like to use this Microsoft Word file for your own purposes, so that it's easier for you to do this before you get to the PDF stage, then what I'd like to do is I'd like to drop our Word template for extension publications in the chat, so that here's the Word document. You'll see it has the manuscript header styles. If you do the drop down, it keeps it really simple. There's a style for bullets, for regular paragraph text. I save this to my desktop and I open it up and I use it whenever I'm formatting emails or whatever it might be, because it's going to convert all these styles over to a PDF really nicely. So I'm going to drop that in the chat too. Feel free to use this Word document for all of your content that you write, just to keep it easier when it converts to PDF. So let's see. So bookmarks come from those styles actually. So if I open up the PDF again, it's pulling these bookmarks, these headers, just from the headers. So you'll see once I select bookmark, and then we're going to get really familiar with these drop down arrows by the end of the presentation. Let's expand that. And we're going to manually check that the headers that we've assigned within the Microsoft Word file are actually correctly linking to the correct header. By using the right arrow on your keyboard, you can expand these arrows. So you don't have to click each one. You can just use your keyboard to scroll down. You can manually change these too, but you'll see when I click these, it takes, summaries at the top of the page, references is at the top of the page. So that's pretty easy. So we've checked our bookmarks. They all link correctly. Let's go back to our checklist and we will check that off. These next three categories, content or resolve reflow, fix reading order, and fix tags in a PDF, you can tackle these in any order that makes sense for you. And some of them we may have to revisit to ensure that we do this correctly. I think today we can start with fix reading order in PDF. And I want to show you what that looks like. We'll open up our PDF, if I can find it amongst all my screens. We'll exit out of bookmarks, and this little Z icon over here in the side panel, left to right, top to bottom, it's supposed to sort of signify reading order. If we click on this, all of a sudden a bunch of different fields pop up. Or if we scroll to the top, you'll see that each field has a number designation that's affiliated with it. Currently it says 5, 4, 1, 2, 3. This is how you fix the reading order. Simply, we want to start right here at the top. It's currently assigned number 5. By clicking and dragging, we can take this to the top of the page and drop it right where it's supposed to go. So now it's assigned number 1. Next, we want 5 to be 2. So if we click and drag that one into position, now we're in proper reading order. It says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's page 1, that's reading order. That's basically all it is. You're dragging and dropping things into the correct position. This one we want to start at the top of the page. It's currently number 4 at that image. Let's drag and drop that to the top. Next we want, it looks like 3 to come next. And there was an empty container that was right here, and when I clicked and dragged that into position, you'll notice that it disappeared. Which brings me to an important point, that Adobe is quite glitchy, and I'm expecting us to see some glitches throughout today. Don't sweat it when that happens. Oftentimes just by saving or reopening or even giving it 5 minutes, it will resolve itself. So if something looks a little off, just wait a little bit or reopen the program, save often, get a little comfortable with Control Z, which is the undo feature. It's very hard to go back and undo work if you get too far out in front of it. So save often. Let's see, we'll go back to reading order. So we start with the image, and then we want the figure caption to come next. It looks like it does, but it's not highlighting it. So that's another glitch. And then there's the text, and then image is in the 4 spot. I'm gonna save this. Okay, it is saved. And we're gonna minimize this and go to page 3. We're not gonna sweat that yet.
Hey, Joe,
Yes.
on that previous page, weren't number 1 and number 3 the same thing?
Let's see. I think field horsetail,
Or is
this
that the caption?
this is probably referring to this text right here where it says field horsetail, and then it has that italic species and genus and species right there. I think that's the container for this text.
It looked like the number 1, when it was showing the numbers, was
Yeah,
a field over the top of number 3.
that could very well be. And it's a good point, and we will get the opportunity to triple check that we've done it correctly when we use the tags tool right here, and also the content resolve reflow. We'll ensure that that's all correct and copacetic. So we'll have 3 chances to make sure that everything's in correct order. Thanks for your question, Beth. Let me know if you have any others too. I think this page is in good reading order. We can revisit that at the end. And then of course there'll be a tool I share with you that ensures that we're WCAG compliant too at the end. So we're on page 3 right now. Looks like we have the text and then number 5 on the image. Let's drag and drop that within the text. And then if we scroll down, now the table caption, figure, and table notes, those look like they're in the correct order. So that was page 3. We can minimize that and go to page 4. Let's see, we start on the left side, we scroll right. These are some empty paragraph marks. We'll have to deal with those in a little bit.
How do we know which order to put things in? I mean, is it just by us how we think it should naturally flow, or is there a specific order?
That's a great question, Linda. And this is where you would manually manipulate that for someone using assistive technology.
So it's
You,
the information we would like the reader to read first and the flow that we hope that it follows.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. This looks like it's in good reading order to me. It's top to bottom, left to right. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. We do have this content. I would like it to go from 4. I'd like number 8 to be 5. So let's click and drag and drop that into its correct, what I think is its correct position. And then this is out of order too. We want the image to come next. So we'll grab this image container, drag and drop that into position. We have some empty paragraph marks. I think they were for formatting purposes. We're going to have to deal with those using one of our other tools. Let's save while we know we're ahead. And we're going to go back to our checklist and let's check off reading order. Next, I think I want to tackle this content resolve reflow. We'll jump back into the PDF, exit out of the reading order tool, and the next tool we'll select, I'll scroll back to the top and zoom out just a little bit so you can check this out. It's this little folded piece of paper that has little text scroll on it. It says resolve reflow issues by reordering pages in a PDF or objects within a page. Oftentimes it's just called content reflow. If I select that icon, you're going to see the drop down arrow. Let's expand that. And this is what I start to think of when I think of PDF remediation is there's all these, they call them containers, and it's just the content that's on the page, and they call it container and they ascribe it these different sort of these tags, I guess they're called. And this one says path, and there's a P within these brackets, and it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around at first. But basically it's just saying this is what's on the page. This is the order it's in. You can click on it to highlight the various containers or the tags. But what you're going to notice is we thought we addressed reading order when we use the reading order tool. Well, that's not quite true. When you go into the content reflow, you'll see that already just by selecting the top of the page here, it's dropping me down to the bottom of the page. And it's also got these it's called an artifact. And I was talking with Deanna earlier before the presentation started. This is the way that you tell a screen reader not to read an image that you don't need read. You assign it an artifact tag. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But for right now, I'm going to continue working on the reading order a little bit. Now, I could click and drag this to the bottom of the page because I want it to be last, right? Or you can Control X or cut, go down to the bottom of the page and select the very end, and then Control V as in Victor or paste, and it's going to pop it right into that last slot. So there's always multiple ways to accomplish the same task within Adobe, which can be kind of nice. Next up, we have this empty, I bet it's another paragraph mark or something right here. If I were to just delete these empty paragraph marks without assigning them as artifacts, that's an automatic WCAG fail. And if you use a screen reader, it's just going to read those out as blank, 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 which doesn't create a very nice user experience. So, and we're going to get a lot of practice today with this. If you find an empty P tag or paragraph mark tag, you need to assign it as an artifact before you delete it. This has the artifact already assigned. If I right click this, now I can delete it. But if it did not have the artifact and I deleted it, that would be a WCAG fail. So we can proceed in reading order, make sure all the content. Here's our first example of an empty paragraph tag that we have to deal with. First, we need to assign it as an artifact so that the screen reader doesn't read out blank. So let's right click that, create artifact. This field pops up, it says artifact type, page, pagination, layout. Now I've heard that you can select either page or layout and both will work. What's worked for me is layout, so that's what I'll stick with. And I'll say okay. And now you'll see that instead of an empty paragraph, it says container artifact. Now at this point, I can right click and delete this. And it's that's how you deal with them. That's so if we go back to page 1, we expand, walk through the tags tree. Looks like we're proceeding in good reading order. Everything's looking good. There's a couple empty containers. I don't know what these are. This says container artifact and nothing's highlighted. I think at this point, without doing too much damage, I can shift click to select both and then right click and delete just to clean up what we're working on here. But let me double check, make sure I didn't delete anything important. It's a little concerning, I think, that the artifact for this icon went away, but I'm not going to sweat it too much yet. But if I was truly worried about it, I pressed Control Z or undo, and it's back in my tags panel. So let me try that again, where hopefully, yeah, it deleted it again. I'm going to leave those for now then, because I want this there. I don't want that to be deleted. So we'll have plenty of opportunities using the other tools to make sure that that we're on track. But if that was page 1, so if we go to page 2 and expand it, and I expand it again by clicking the rightward arrow on the keyboard, we can start to walk the tags tree, as they say. That just means click down and make sure that all the content is in the proper order. But we can Control X or cut, put that page number at the bottom of the page, go back to the top and make sure we're in good reading order. There's an empty paragraph mark right there. Then there's another one right there. And then there's a couple more at the very end of the page. So I could go through and I could right click each of these and go to create artifact and do these one at a time. Or for the sake of speed, I could hold down Control, left click, and select all 3 at once. Now right click, create artifact, layout, and now I've assigned them all as artifacts all at once. And then again, I can do that Control click, delete, and now we've cleaned up page 2, and that looks good. So we can minimize page 2, expand page 3, and we're just doing the same thing. That's out of order, so we can cut and paste at the end and go back to the top of the page, walk through everything, make sure everything looks good. We have an empty paragraph tag right there. So we create artifact, layout, and now we can delete it. And I think that's the only empty paragraph mark on this page. Looks like we thought we had the reading order correctly. It showed the correct reading order for this image, but I'm seeing now that it didn't stick for whatever reason. Here's the container. It says container P image, and we actually want this to come after that text. We can drag and drop that into place and then make sure that the image is in good reading order. It's not recognizing this figure caption for whatever reason. See how it skips over that? I'm not going to sweat that too much yet. I think that just might be a glitch. I'm going to save. Oh, see, just by saving, it's already popped back up. You never know what you're going to find. But it is there. So like I said, don't sweat it. You'll get more opportunities to remedy those issues if you find them using the next tool as well.
I have
Within
a
Adobe.
question.
Yeah.
So if we were to delete something or cut it, does it, and we don't realize it, and we're moving on. So have I just maybe cut a paragraph out of my document? Can I get that back, or?
That's a great question, Linda. I've accidentally done that before, and I think screen readers just skip over whatever it is that you deleted. So you need to make sure that that's included in the PDF. And there are ways to do that, and I can walk you through how to do that step if you need me to. Just feel free to email, or those who want to stick around at the end of the presentation, I can show you how to do that as well.
Okay,
And
but it doesn't totally go away. It's just not being read by the screen reader.
In most cases, it will still be visual for those
Oh,
who read and don't
okay.
use a screen reader. Yes, in most cases.
Okay.
Sometimes that text does disappear, though, I have found.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Great question.
I got another question, Joe.
Yeah.
Um, if you designate something as an artifact, but you don't delete it, is there any harm in that?
The answer to that question is I'm not entirely sure, but we can verify that by using this PAC 2026 tool, PDF Accessibility Checker. It will tell us if it's going to be an issue, which is really nice, a nice tool to have. So to answer your question, I don't think that would be an issue. I do it to clean up the PDF, but we can certainly verify that using that tool. And we will verify this PDF and make sure it's compliant once we have it fully, what we think is fully remediated. So we'll continue going through this data. Thank you everyone for questions. This is great. It looks like everything else is in reading order. I don't see any issues on this page. There was a lot of content on this page, and that's coming probably mostly from this data table because it breaks it down by cell and border and all that stuff. We can minimize page 3 and expand page 4. And for the first time, you'll see annotations actually has some content within it. Let's expand that by clicking right on the keyboard, and let's see what it's talking about. It's talking about the hyperlinks. It's saying that there's hyperlinks on the page. That's annotations right there. You will have to probably deal with those and do some extra steps, but we'll get there once we check it in the PAC 2026 tool. We're going to leave those alone for right now and continue with getting this in proper reading order, proper order, just by walking the tags tree, clicking down. Looks like all of our content is has converted well. We get to some empty paragraph marks, which now you know how to do them, how to assign them as artifacts all at once. Make sure I get them all. So if you shift left click to the bottom, then hold down control and click once, you can grab them all with just a few selections, and then right click, create artifact layout. And now they've all been assigned to artifact at once. And I think these were the two. Yep. So we can right click and now we can delete those. And we've sort of cleaned up the PDF manuscript and made it more compliant. Looks like, again, we're skipping over some text. I want that copyright text to be included, but I'm not going to sweat it yet. Let's just see if our typical fix works. I'll scroll down a little bit. I saved it. And let's see if that content is, yeah, it is. So you just never know what you're going to find. Save often. But it looks like we're good. That was page 4. That was the content resolve reflow tool. Let's go back to our handy checklist. We're going to check that off. This last one is called fix tags in PDF. We'll go back to our PDF document, scroll back to the top of the page. We'll exit out of content. And it's this one right here. It kind of looks like a little tag, I guess. And if we select that tool, that icon, now it's breaking down the entire manuscript by these things called tags, whether it's a paragraph or a header or a figure image or whatever it might be. It's giving it a little container called the tag. And again, we're going to walk the tags tree. We're going to make sure everything's in good reading order. You know, we thought we did it twice now, but this is a great place to verify again. There's a kind of a funny empty P tag right here. I bet it was either this one or the one at the top that we had artifacted earlier. In fact, I'm seeing a couple now. You'll see they don't have drop down arrows with them. That means there's no content associated with those. I can actually control click these. I'm pretty confident. I bet this was on page 2, maybe page 3. Yeah, that one was on page 2, and it was probably the paragraph mark that was extra right after this image, and there was probably one right there too. So I'm pretty confident that we have already addressed these and made these artifacts. So I'm going to control click and select all 4 of these at once. Oh, there's another one. Right click, and then let's just delete the empty tags. Those would be WCAG fails if I were to leave those, or at least warnings. I think that the PAC tool would identify as either warnings or fails. I'm not sure what this empty tag is up here. I wonder if it wasn't this one, but we'll find out later when we run this through the PAC 2026 tool. So let's continue to walk the tags tree. Looks like everything's in good reading order. I think we're getting there. You just click down, go through these. Okay, we thought we had that image. We've placed it twice now in a position where we thought it was supposed to go, but it looks like it's actually down here a little bit. Just click and drag that back into the correct reading order that it's supposed to go. Oops, it's supposed to go right there. Right after that paragraph text. So there, now the image is in the correct location. That's great. And we're on page 4, the last page. We have those empty paragraph marks. I think that was the grouping that we had done when we assigned multiple artifacts. So I can actually just shift click all the way down to the bottom and then delete empty tags. And so I think we're getting there now. There was another empty paragraph mark after this image too, and I'm wondering if we can expand that. I think it's right there actually. See how you can just expand these and you'll get all the way down to the granular text when you expand these paragraph marks. But that's an empty paragraph tag, so let's delete that too. Now let's save. We worked hard on this. We don't want to lose anything that we've done. And we can go back to the checklist and check off fixed tags in PDF. I think we've artifacted all empty tags and then deleted them, so I think we can check that off too. Now at this point, I'm pretty confident that this is looking good enough that I want to check using the PAC 2026 tool. And I think, Sarah, if you could share that link to the PAC 2026 tool with everybody, that would be awesome. It's right, I have it on my desktop right down here at the bottom. And I'm going to open it up now so you can check this out with me. This is the latest edition. Before this, it was PAC 2024. This is PAC 2026. I haven't noticed too much of a difference, except that this one includes AI, or it says it includes AI, and it includes this little thumbnail or selection over here. We need to try to make sure that our communications meet the WCAG compliance, so I can actually select that, and we will pull in our PDF that we've been working on, and I'm just dragging and dropping it right into it says drop a PDF file here in the PAC tool. So let's do that. We're going to drop this in, let it load. It's reading through it. Now we'll select WCAG. Select the WCAG compliance criteria. And then if you go to results and detail here at the bottom of the page, it's going to show you exactly where so for one, it says that we've passed over 15,000. So give yourself a pat on the back, you've done, but it also is saying that we have 4 errors and we have some warnings that we need to address. So you can, like we were doing with the PDF, you can literally walk this tags tree and expand these drop-down arrows to figure out what the issue is. So this is a caution, it's a warning. It's saying contents entry on an annotation exists, but is only comprised of white space. Now, in the PAC 2026 tool, if you click on this, you say, I have no idea what that means, right? You click on this and it'll take you right to the web content accessibility guidelines, time-based media, to the top of the page. So if you're curious, you can always go and check out exactly what the issue is. I think this is saying that we're missing alternative text on our hyperlinks. So this is a pretty easy fix. If we jump back into the PDF and let's go to the tags. Let's use our tags tool. And that was on page 4. Let's find the paragraph that those hyperlinks were in, and I'll right click over on the keyboard, and there's our links tag right there. And I think what it's wanting me to do, and you can always Google this too, if that's the beauty of the PAC 2026 tool, it'll tell you exactly what the issue is. You can do a Google search based on that issue and generally find some good answers. If I open up our Microsoft Word document, I think it just wants the alternative text for this hyperlink. So I can just copy the title of the publication, jump back over to the PDF. Make sure you have the links tag right here. Don't expand that. This won't work if you click any of the below items. You got to right click the links tag, select properties, and then alternate description for links. Let's paste in the title of that publication and close. And then we'll open up the next paragraph that has a hyperlink, jump back to our Word file. We'll copy paste the title of this publication, and we're going to make sure the right hyperlink is selected, right click, properties, alternate descriptions for links, and paste. So we've pasted in the title. Now definitely save and open up the PAC 2026 tool again. We'll exit out, and I just want to show you how this updates. We're going to drag and drop that PDF back into the PAC 2026 tool, select WCAG, go down to results and detail to open our report. Now text alternatives has a green check by it. That was the correct remedy for that particular issue. So that's great. We're on the right track. It looks like we just have 4 more errors that we need to remedy, and then just some quality checks. I'd like to get those down to 0. So let's go to our next error that says we have a WCAG fail, and let's expand that using the right arrow on your keyboard, and then it says info and relationships. We passed a lot, so give yourself a pat on the back, but it says table header cell assignment. Let's expand that. It says table header cell has no associated subcells. Well, I have no idea what that means, so you can select and go into the WCAG, and here it's saying that the sequence of content is incorrect. So, okay, it's kind of helpful, I guess. It's kind of hard to follow those web content accessibility guidelines. But like I said, it's helpful for when you do a Google search or you're trying to, problem solve the issue. Table header cell has no associated subcells. So there was an issue with the data table when it converted over. And let's pop back into this Microsoft Word file so we'll both look at this together. I'm going to open up the table design. I think it's an issue coming from these designations up top here. The options are header row, first column, total row. Now, I got to tell you, I've experimented with all of these to try to remedy the issue in Word before converting to PDF, and I have not had success. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But we can fix this within the PDF too. So let's pop back over to the PDF. We're going to zoom in a little bit so we're both looking at the same thing. And this data table is the one giving us issues. It says no associated subcells, which means that there's an issue with these header cells. If you go over to all tools, view more, prepare for accessibility, and I know this isn't confusing at all, but there's a fix reading order tool. So we have the reading order tool and the fix reading order tool. And somebody had asked a question earlier, Linda, I think it was you, and to remedy if you lose a paragraph of text, you would also use this fix reading tool, I believe. Let's open up the fix reading tool. You'll see it's all grayed out here, but if we click on the data table, now all of a sudden we have a lot of options. Table editor is one of them. So let's select table editor. And now you'll see that we can actually start to make adjustments and try to dive into what this problem is. So I'm going to select this first one, herbicide treatment, right click, table cell properties. It is a header cell, but this might be the issue. It does not have an assigned scope. It's a column header cell. So let's go ahead and manually set that now. And we need to give it an ID, because I have a feeling like if we don't, that might be an important part of assigning the cells beneath it. So let's give it its cell ID. We'll click OK. We're going to have to do the same with these other cells as well. You might be able to shift click and do these all at once. Oh, and I forgot to, let's go back to application timing. I assigned it the scope, which is a column, but I'd like to give it an ID again too, just like the last one. And then same with rate in pound per acre, column, ID, pound per acre. Okay. And then surfactant type, let's make it scope for the column, give it a title. Okay, so now we've assigned the scope for all these. This might remedy the issue right as it is, but I want to be sure. Oh, we got a glitch there from Adobe. I'm going to save this and we'll try to reopen it because that's not operating how it's supposed to. This is good practice too. This is actually how PDF remediation goes. So it's good probably for everybody to see that it's not always as straightforward as one would like. We'll go to prepare for accessibility again, fix reading order, select the table, and then table editor. And let's shift click and select all of the data cells beneath the header cell, right click. Now they are assigned as data cells, which is good, but I also want them to have an associated header cell. So I'm glad that we input the titles of these. Now we can nest them properly. Now a screen reader will see that these have the correct relationship. So we'll do that for the remaining columns too. This one was application timing. Okay. Continue with the other columns. That was rate in pound per acre. And the last column. And then we're going to run it through the PAC 2026 tool again, and we're going to see if that remedied the issue. So we will save, open up our PAC 2026 tool, select the PDF that you want to drop in, drag and drop that into its proper place, select WCAG. Now you'll see there's no more errors in the publication, which is awesome. So we'll select WCAG, results in detail, open our report. That's a lot of green check marks. We're going to walk the key. What I want to say too is so we know that those fixes that we applied to the table worked. And I think that there's more than one way to accomplish that. I'm just showing you the way that works for me. I found other ways of doing it too, and I'm sure you will too. Oh, I'm sorry, Erica. I have two screens. I'm grabbing the PDF from my file explorer. Let me do that again. Thank you for your question. Just grab the PDF from your file explorer. Just literally just grab it from whatever folder it might be in and just drop it into the PAC 2026 tool. Then select WCAG, results in detail, open your report. And now because we want to clean up our PDF as much as is possible, right? We're gonna figure out what these warnings are. We don't have any more errors, it says, according to the WCAG standards, but we do have some warnings. And I just wanna see what those are because I'm curious. One is parsing. And the WCAG 2.2 standards say we no longer have to pay attention to parsing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah. But parsing is programmatically determined. I can't do anything about parsing from my end. That's the software companies at that point. That's your computer at that point. So we can ignore parsing. Quality though, it is saying I have an issue there, and I don't know what that could be, but let's figure it out together. Tag text consists of only white space, and its location can only be approximated. It's on page 1 somewhere. Is it an empty paragraph tag? I'm not exactly sure. But let's look for that together. Tag text consists of only white space. I might use the tag tool for this. Let's scroll back up to page 1. There's the document. If I click document, it selects everything, yes. And there's a header 1 right there. So what's that header 1? That's nothing. That's just an empty tag. I think I'm just gonna right click and delete that. Save if you haven't before you do something like that. We'll save it. Let me open the PAC 2026 tool. Let's go back to my file explorer if I can find it. I think I exited out of it. Make sure I select the right one so I'm not in OneDrive or something like that. Okay, let's go to the PAC 2026 tool. We're gonna I'm aiming for 100% here. So let's see how we did. So we drag and drop that, select WCAG, results in detail, and now quality has a green check. So we've done it. We've remediated a PDF start to finish, using the tools, using the checklist. I'm going to check off provide alternative description for links. Now at this point too, you know, as you saw earlier, I think we ran that PDF accessibility checker using the prepare for accessibility. So you're able to see that it doesn't really do a good job, but the PAC 2026 tool does. And so it's a little bit more prescriptive too. It gives you some direction for researching areas of concern that you might want to remedy. So we can check that off. For those who haven't yet, I've been experimenting with NVDA as a screen reader, and I've been having some success. So if I have questions about problem areas, I will run the NVDA, and I'm getting more familiar with it to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly. So if you have a screen reader, great. You can practice with it and hear what those with assistive technologies might be hearing. And that's it. We've remediated a PDF start to finish. And so I'll stop sharing my screen now and am happy to take questions or anyone who has questions, but just want to thank you for coming out today, and hopefully you're able to get these tools to use them in the publications or any content that you produce. And just thanks again.